The NFL comes to Munich this weekend for the first time ever. The NFL started its first regular season game in London in the late 2000s, 2008, if I'm correct, and finally comes to Munich. I think statistically there's more NFL fans in Germany than there is in the UK. Now I could be done for saying that by you lads here, but I'm nearly certain, or it's the exact same. But first off, lads, for people that are just for you that have covered the game, been to games in London, how cool do you think it is to have a game in Bayern Munich Stadium this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. I mean, look, I was a kid that grew up listening to the game or got into the game in the early to mid 80s. The whole conceit that I remember being in Rio at the Olympics in 2016, sitting in the back of a taxi on the way home and watching Monday Night Football live on my phone in HD and thinking, this is mental. Going back and, I used to have to phone a premium rate phone line to get NFL scores on a Monday morning because there wasn't literally no other way of getting hold of it. It wasn't even on teletext. It wasn't. So, my parents would be like, what have you been doing? And I was like, this is when you still had a house phone. Mobiles weren't a thing. I then found the Armed Forces radio. So would listen Saturday, Sunday nights while all my friends were out getting pissed and getting laid when they were 14, 15 and at discos and parties and those sorts of things. And I was literally laying on my bed listening to Holy Cross against Florida State and NFL games on a Sunday and just, and that was how I consumed the game. It was the only way to be able to consume the game. And college football, I mean, we had TV highlights. I was telling this to somebody the other day. We had college football highlights on a Saturday night, Sunday morning at 2:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning from the week before. So there'd already been another week of games. So let's say the game was LSU Alabama. They were showing it from the previous week. LSU would have already, and Alabama would have already played the following Saturday. And I mean, it was crazy. So to be able to think that we've had however many games that we've had now in London, 30 odd or whatever it's 32. Been, 32, and now this one in Munich, an amazing city in a great country that's mad for the game, really knowledgeable for people. If you've not caught our Gridiron Germany podcast, it's excellent with great hosts, really informative, intelligent, thoughtful people who know the game. And I just think out there they're crazy for the game, and it's brilliant. And I think it's two really intriguing teams. And I think actually, when the schedule came out, we probably thought, Tampa will be brilliant and the Seahawks will be a bit rubbish. And actually, the Seahawks are the dominant side, and Tampa, with that great win over the Rams, it makes it a really intriguing matchup between these two sides with a legit MVP candidate who isn't Tom Brady at quarterback. It's Geno Smith. And yeah, I think the people of Munich will be fired up. That stadium I've been to that stadium. It's absolutely amazing. It will be absolutely rocking. The visuals on the outside, the way that if you've never seen it, the way it lights up with the red and the colors, it's great. It's easy to get to. It's just I think it's going to be a great game and in a great setting.
You're getting me really excited here. Olly Hunter, you're going to be in Munich this weekend. It's going to be great. And the one thing, Ollie, that I wanted to sort of mention here as well is obviously Seattle, for where they're based in the States, they're coming out here. It's not an 8-hour time difference, it's a 9-hour time difference in Munich because of the extra hour. They get out here a day earlier, or at least 12 hours earlier than Tampa Bay. Do you think that makes any difference whatsoever when you're going to Munich for the first time? And are you surprised that both teams maybe haven't engaged to come in earlier because it's the first game in Germany, or is it just business as usual?
I mean, these NFL teams are business as usual. Also, I don't know. I'd love to find out the stats. Maybe this is on me for not doing it, but I don't think there's any correlation to coming out early or coming out on Friday or Thursday or whatever day to how you perform on that Sunday when they've come out to the UK. An extra hour is when you've done 8 hour time difference, but when you've done 10 to 11 hours in a plane, I'm not sure it makes too much of a difference. They'll plan their sleep patterns and their meals accordingly. So I don't think it's got any outcome on the game whatsoever. But maybe not coming out and doing a few extra bits might have been a good thing for the league to do. But in any case, 3 million people tried to get or could have got tickets. Ticketmaster said to this game. The fact that it's going on, the NFL have sent out a whole media team already. They're doing Good Morning Football from there, I think, already. Benetta's out there. So there's the NFL are taking this seriously, and I think so, because it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be so good, and we finally and it's two really relevant teams. I think didn't the UK took 32 games for them to have two teams with a winning record. Well,
yeah.
I know that the Bucs are there or thereabouts, but the Seahawks are looking good this year against almost all odds. And
I think you two boys are in for an absolutely like a weekend of a lifetime in terms of, because if you've never been to Munich 1, it's
never been it.
I've never been, because I literally live in the countryside and there's no flights. So
me and my missus went to Munich a few years ago and had an unbelievable time. They do this. There's a place where they do this rhubarb tart, which sounds.
I love rhubarb. Rhubarb's one of my favorite flavors.
This is
right. You've got to tell me where it is.
Unreal. I'll have to find where it is, but the place is amazing. The people are great. It's just such a cool city, and we had an amazing time. And we actually went to Dortmund, Bayern Munich, which was great. It was Klopp's last Munich game. Dortmund won 3-0. We sat in the away end. It was absolutely sensational. But I just think the atmosphere outside, inside, the tailgating, the people, you take like a little overground tram to like a train to get to the station. It was going to be absolutely, like when we went to the game, it was just rammed with just joyful football fans. It's going to be exactly the same, full of like shirt, like we see on the tube at London stuff. It's just going to be rammed full of shirts and excitement and bratwursts and steins, and it's going to be like, it'll be Oktoberfest with football. It's just what's not to love about it. You're going to have an amazing time.
Knuckles of pork and Bavarian beer houses and Lederhosen.
I want you to turn up, Ollie, in Lederhosen.
Yeah, well,
actually arrive.
Is it Fistermühle? PFI Fistermühle, I think. Is what I'm.
Mate.
Is what? Well, no, that's the place where the rhubarb tart is, I think.
Okay, if you say so.
I don't know.
I think the WhatsApp chat's going to be interesting this weekend, lads.
It was about 7 or 8 years ago, so, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Here, give us your game picks ahead of this game in Munich. Let's hear some game picks ahead of this game, because I'm probably not going to get the chat to you on screen anyway before the game. I'm genuinely taking Seattle to win this game. If you told me, I know you said it, Simon, you talked about 6 months ago. Oh, the Seahawks could be rubbish. Pete Carroll, as it stands, if they win another 4 games, he's coach of the year for what he's done to this team. Geno Smith looks fantastic. Kenneth Walker gives him a different option on the run game, and I can't see how the Bucs are going to put up as many points as the Seahawks on Sunday. And I never thought I'd say that, but I just hope we've got a great game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game, but I'm with you. I think the Seahawks will win. I think you mentioned, two of the most important people in the NFC this season, in Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker's got a legit shot to be Rookie of the Year. And I think Geno Smith, astonishingly, has a legit shot to be MVP. And I think, Josh Allen with a potential injury, Jalen Hurts obviously playing well. You've got kind of Tua coming up on the rails with his performances when he's been healthy. Obviously, Micah Parsons, Matthew Judon, Pat Mahomes isn't going anywhere, Tyreek Hill. But, Geno Smith might be the leader in the clubhouse for MVP. And that's, who would have sat here at week 1 and said, yep, by week 8, when they go to Munich, we'll be... or week 9, whatever it is, Geno Smith will be the leader in the clubhouse for most valuable player. That you get laughed out of every room you ever go in. Exactly. So I think it'll be and the job that they've done on defense. You lose Bobby Wagner, you lose KJ Wright. That defensive line last year was horrendous in terms of Wagner and Jordan Brooks had about 200 tackles each, and everybody thought, oh, what amazing players they were. And actually, Wagner didn't have a very good year, and they were making tackles solely because the defensive line couldn't stop anybody. And now the secondary is, they've got those 2 young corners playing brilliantly. Again, you've got another legit candidate for Rookie of the Year in Tariq Woolen. The offensive line, they've completely shored up, and they've done so again through the draft with Charles Cross at left tackle and the brilliant Abe Lucas at right tackle. John Schneider would be executive of the year, and Pete Carroll should be coach of the year, because they've just done a phenomenal job. And I can only see the Seahawks winning this weekend.
For my 2 euro cents worth, could, and this is just a devil's advocate. Could Brady pulling it out last week, getting the win, could that be the spark that ignites this Tampa Bay offense? Because watching that game back, the amount of drops and hands of stone that all of the receivers had. I mean, the Scotty Miller drop in the back of the end zone is inexplicable. Mike Evans has looked absolutely rubbish since he got ejected from that game. Was against the Saints a month ago, 2 months ago. So there's clearly things not right, or there haven't been things right in Tampa Bay, especially on offense. The defense had a downturn, but maybe picked up a bit the last couple of weeks. Could what happened and that comeback win in the last seconds against the very poor Rams team be the spark and the ignition that this offense that has the players, could it be what it needs just to get them going?
I'll tell you the one thing you don't want to be if you're in the NFC is a team that has to play Tampa in the playoffs. That to me is not what you want. And I think, you go back and you look at that game and you just think, you look at their schedule and Seahawks, a game that they'll probably lose, but then they've got Cleveland, the Saints, both games they should probably win. 49ers, you probably say the 49ers would win that. Bengals, same with that. But then they've got 3 games that they should win to out the season. Cardinals, Panthers, and Falcons. So 2 in-division games. That's just not a team you want to hit. In a weak NFC, you could see Tampa and Philadelphia playing off in the Cowboys playing off in the NFC Championship game, even with the record at 4-5, and even the fact they struggled past a pretty average Rams team at the weekend. But that K-Dot and catch, that Tom Brady throw, that drive, that's kept their season alive. So it will be very interesting to see what happens, because it's a massive game for Tampa this weekend. Because if they win that, then all bets aren't off in the NFC. But I think there's a lot could happen if they do overturn the Seahawks the weekend.
9-8 could get you into the playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, 8 and 9 could get you into the playoffs in a bad division. I mean, it really could.
Time will tell. I feel like we'll be sitting here over Christmas laughing at some teams' records. But one thing is for sure, for the vast majority of people this weekend, it could be the last time they see, first and last time they see Tom Brady play football, and to see him, I think he's the first quarterback to play in the US, Mexico, the UK, and now Germany. Nobody else has done it, so a fair play to Tom. The game is on Sunday at 2:30. If you go to the game, tweet us your photos or thoughts using hashtag Gridiron Munich.